Louise L Hay. You can heal your life. Education. May the suffering help you find a place within where you know your own self-worth, the part of you that is pure love and self-acceptance. Acknowledgements. I acknowledge with joy and pleasure my many students and clients who taught me so much and who first encouraged me to put my ideas down on paper, my dedicated staff at Hay House who share my dream of disseminating books, audios and videos that help to heal the planet spiritually, emotionally and physically. My wonderful readers and listeners who have shown their loving support for my work and who continue to be a source of inspiration for me. All those whose hearts are opening more and more each day. My dear friends throughout the world who surround me with unconditional love, laughter, and just plain fun. Forward. If I were cast away on a desert island and could have only one book with me there, I might well choose Louise L Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. Not only it is the essence of a great teacher, it is also the powerful and very personal statement of a great lady. Louise shares some of her journey to where she is in her evolvement now in this wonderful new book. I resonated in admiration and in compassion to her story, too briefly sketched here, in my view, but perhaps that's another book. It's all here, is my point. All you need to know about life, its lessons, and how to do the work on yourself is right here. And this includes Louise's references guide to probably mental patterns behind disease, which is truly remarkable and unique in my experience. A person on a desert island who found this manuscript in a bottle could learn all he or she needs to know to make this life be the one that gets the job done. Desert island or not, if you have found your way to Louise Hay, perhaps even accidentally, you're well on your way. Louise's book, her remarkable healing tapes, her inspired workshops are wonderful gifts to a troubled world. It was my own deep investment in working with persons with AIDS that led me to meeting Louise and utilizing concepts from her healing work. Each AIDS person I worked with and for whom I play Louise's tape, a positive approach to AIDS, get Louise's message on the first hearing, and many made playing this tape part of their daily healing ritual. One man named Andrew told me, I go to bed with Louise. I get up to her every day. My respect and love for Louise grew as I observed my beloved aides. People make the transitions and reach at peace and complete, more full of love and forgiveness for themselves and everyone else for having had Louise in their lives, and with a quiet respect for having created that precise learning experience. I have been gifted in my life and with many great teachers, some of them saints, I'm sure, and even avatars perhaps. Yet Louise is a great teacher one can speak with and be with because of her enormous capacity to listen and to be in unconditional love while sharing doing the dishes. In the same way, another teacher I heard as great make terrific potato salad. Louise teaches by an example, who lives what she teaches. I am deeply honored to invite you to make this book part of your life. You and it are worth it. Dave Brown ventures in self-fulfillment, then a Portland, California. Point 1 is introduction. Suggestions to my readers. I have written this book to share with you, my readers, that which I know and teach. It incorporates portions of my little blue book, Heal Your Body, which has become widely accepted as an authoritative work on the mental patterns that create diseases in the body. I have had hundreds of letters from readers asking me to share more of my information. Many persons who have worked with me as private clients and those who have taken my workshops here and abroad have requested I take the time to write this book. I have set up this book to take you through a session, just as I would if you come to me as a private client and attend one of my workshops. If you will do the exercise progressively, as they appear in the book, by the time you have finished, you will have begun to change your life. I suggest you read through the book once, then slowly read it again. Only this time, do each exercise in deep. Give yourself time to work with each one. If you can, walk through the exercise with a friend or with a member of your family. Each chapter opens with an affirmations. Each of those is good to use when you are working on that area of your life. Take 2 or 3 days to study and work with each chapter. Keep saying or writing the affirmation that opens the chapter. The chapter closes with a treatment. This is a flow of positive ideas designed to change consciousness. Read over this treatment several times a day. I close this book by sharing with you my own story. I know it will show you that no matter where we have come from or how lowly it was, we can totally change our lives for the better. Know that when you walk with these ideas, my loving support is with you. Some points of my philosophy. We are each responsible for all of our experiences. Every thought we think is creating our future. The point of power is always in the present moment. Everyone suffers from self-hatred and guilt. The bottom line for everyone is I'm not good enough. It's a thought, and a thought can be changed. We create every so-called illness in our body. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns. Releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. We must release the past and forgive everyone. We must be willing to begin to learn to love ourselves. Self-approval and self-acceptance and now are the keys to positive changes. When we really love ourselves, everything in our life works. In the infinity of life, where I am always perfect, whole and complete, and yet life is ever changing. There is no beginning and no end, only a constant cycling and recycling of substance and experiences. Life is never stuck or static or stale, for each moment is ever new and fresh. I am a new one with the very power that created me, and this power has given me the power to create my own circumstances. I rejoice in the knowledge that I have the power of my own mind to use it in any way I choose. Every moment of life is a new beginning point as we move from the old. This moment is a new point of beginning for me right here, right now, as well in my world. Chapter 1. What I believe. The gateways to wisdom and knowledge are always open. Life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back. What we think about ourselves becomes the truth for us. I believe that everyone, myself included, is responsible for everything in our lives, the best and the worst. Every thought we think is creating our future. Each one of us creates our experiences by our thoughts and our feelings. The thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. We create the situations and then we give our power away by blaming the other people for our frustrations. No person, no place, and no thing has any power over us, for we are the only thinkers in it. When we create peace and harmony, a balance in our minds, we will find it in our lives. Which of those statements sounds like you? People are out to get me. Everyone is always helpful. Each one of those beliefs will create quite different experiences. What we believe about ourselves and about life becomes true for us. The universe totally supports us in every thought we choose to think and believe. Put another way, our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. They both mean that what I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me. What you choose to think about yourself and about life becomes true for you. And we have unlimited choices about what we can think. Well, when we know this, then it makes sense to choose everyone is always helpful rather than people are out to get me. The universal power never judges or criticizes. It only accepts us at our own value. Then it reflects our beliefs in our lives. If I want to believe that life is lonely and that nobody loves me, then this is what I will find in my world. However, if I am willing to release that belief and to affirm for myself that love is everywhere and I am loving and lovable, and to hold on to that new affirmations and to repeat it often, then it will become true for me. Now, loving people will come into my life. The people already in my life will become more loving to me, and I will find myself easily expressing love to others. Most of us have foolish ideas about who we are and many rigid rules about how life ought to be lived. This is not to condemn us, for each of us is doing the very best we can at this very moment. If we knew better, if we had more understanding and awareness, then we would do it differently. Please don't put yourself down for being where you are. The very fact that you have found this book and have discovered me means that you are ready to make a new positive change in your life. Acknowledge yourself for this. Man, don't cry. Woman can't handle money. What limiting ideas to live with. When we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and about lives and by reactions of the others around us. It is the way we learn what to think about ourselves and about our world. Now, if you lived with people who are very unhappy, frightened, guilty, or angry, then you learned a lot of negative things about yourself and about your world. I never do anything right. It's my fault. If I get angry, I am a bad person. Believe this creates a frustrating life. When we grow up, we have a tendency to recreate the emotional environment of our early home life. This is not good or bad, right or wrong. It is just what we know inside us home. We also tend to recreate in our personal relationships and the relationships we had with our mothers or with our fathers, or what they had between them. Think how often you had a lover or a boss who was just like your mother or father. We also treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold and punish ourselves in the same way. You can almost hear the words when you listen. We also love and encourage ourselves in the same way. If you were loved and encouraged as children, you never do anything right. It's our fault. How often have you said this to yourself? You're wonderful. I love you. How often do you tell this to yourself? However, I would not blame our parents for this. We are our victims of victims, and they could not possibly have told us anything they did not know. If your mother did not know how to love herself, or your father did not know how to love himself, then it would be impossible for them to teach you how to love yourself. They were doing the best they could with what they had been taught as children. If you want to understand your parents more, get them to talk about their own childhood. And if you listen with compassion, you will learn where their fears and rigid patterns come from. Those people who did all that stuff to you were just as frightened and scared as you are. I believe that we choose our parents. Each one of us decides to incarnate upon this planet at a particular point in time and space. We have chosen to come here to learn a particular lesson that will advance us upon our spiritual evolutionary pathway. We choose our sex or color or country, and then we look around for the particular set of parents who will mirror the pattern we are bringing in to war on in this life. Then, when we grow up, we usually point our fingers accusing at our parents and whisper, "You did it to me." You really? We choose them because they were perfect for what we wanted to work on overcoming. We learn our belief systems as very little children, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Look back in your life and notice how often you have gone through the same experience. Well, I believe you created those experiences over and over because they mirrored something you believed about yourself. It doesn't really matter how long we have had a problem, or how big it is, or how life-threatening it is. The parent of power is ours in the present moment. All the events you have experienced in your lifetime up to this moment have been created by your thoughts and beliefs you have heard in the past. They were created by thoughts and words you used yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 10, 20, 30, 40 or more years ago, depending on how old you are. However, that is your past. It is over and done with it. What is important in this moment is what you are choosing to think and believe and say right now, for those thoughts and words will create your future. Your point of power is in the present moment and is forming the experience of tomorrow. Next week, next month, next year, so on. You might notice what thought you are thinking at this moment. Is it negative or positive? Do you want this thought to be creative, your future? Notice and be aware. The only thing we are even dealing with is a thought, and thought can be changed. No matter what the problem is, our experiences are just outer effects of inner thoughts. Even self-hatred is only hating as thought you have about yourself. You have a thought that says, I'm a bad person. This thought produces a feeling, and you buy into the feeling. However, if you don't have the thought, you won't have the feeling. And thoughts can be changed. Change the thought, and the feeling must go. This is the only to show us where we get many of our beliefs, but let's not use this information as an excuse to stay stuck in our past. The past has no power over us. It doesn't matter how long we have had a negative pattern. The point of power is in the present. What a wonderful thing to realize. We can begin to be free in this moment. Believe it or not, we do choose our thoughts. We might habitually think the same thoughts over and over so that it does not seem we are choosing the thoughts. But we did make the original choice. We can refuse to think certain thoughts. Look how often you have refused to think positive thoughts about yourself. Well, you can also refuse to think negative thoughts about yourself. Yes, it seems to me that everyone on this planet whom I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. The more self-hatred and guilt we have, the less our lives work. True. The less self-hatred and guilt we have, the better our lives work on all levels. It's also true. The innermost belief for everyone I have worked with is always, I am not good enough. We often add to that, and I don't do enough, or I don't deserve. Does this sound like you? Often saying or implying or feeling that you are not good enough. But for whom? And according to whose standards? If this belief is very strong in you, then how can you possibly have created a loving, joyous, prosperous, healthy life? Somehow your main subconscious belief would always be contradicting it. Somehow you would never quite get it together, for something would always be going wrong somewhere. I find that resentment, criticism, guilt and fear cause more problems than anything else. Those four things cause the major problems in our bodies and in our lives. Those feelings come from blaming others and not taking responsibility for our own experiences. You see, we are all responsible for everything in our lives. Then there is no one to blame. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of our own inner thinking. And I am not condoning other people's poor behavior, but it is our beliefs that attract people who will treat us that way. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticize me, it's never there for me, this is me like a doormat, abuse me, then this is your pattern. There is some thought in you that attracts people who exhibit this behavior. When you no longer think that way, they will go elsewhere and do that to somebody else. You will no longer attract them. Following are some results of patterns that manifest on the physical level. Resentment that is long hair can eat away at the body and become the disease we call cancer. Criticism as a permanent habit can often lead to arteries in the body. Guilt always looks for punishment, and punishment creates pain. When a client comes to me with a lot of pain, I know they are holding a lot of guilt. Fear and the tension it produces can create things like burdens, ulcers, and even sore feet. I have found that forgiveness and releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. While this may sound simplistic, I have seen and experienced it working. We can change our attitude toward the past. The past is over and done. We cannot change that now, yet we can change our thoughts about the past. How foolish for us to punish ourselves in the present moment because someone hurt us in the past long ago. I often say to people who have deep resentment patterns, please begin to dissolve the resentment now, when it is relatively easy. Don't wait until you are under the threat of a surgeon's knife or on your deathbed, when you may have to deal with panic too. When we are in a state of panic, it is very difficult to focus our minds on the healing work. We have to take time out to dissolve the fears first.